And we are live.
Hello,
Hello, everyone.
everyone.
Hi.
Are people joining? Yeah, let's give them some time to join. I'm back from vacation, but we have lost Sarah
Yes.
this week. Although I think we have a very good replacement for Sarah. Oh, 14 people joined. Hello, guys. Um, I would like to introduce this week's very special guest to our live stream. She is a two-time Olympian, three-time world medalist, three-time Canadian champion, and many, many more accomplishments on the ice, off the ice. So let's give a very warm welcome to Kaitlyn Weaver. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank
As
you. I'm happy to be here.
as always, if anybody of the viewers has any questions or any comments, just put them in the chat, and I will keep an eye on them, and hopefully we can answer them. Yeah, so maybe while people are joining, you can talk a bit about what you have been doing lately, what kind of work.
Yeah, it's an exciting time in my life right now. It seems to be changing and evolving by the day, which is cool. But I retired in 2019, and with the pandemic in 2020, my ride off of the competitive world was a little bit different than expected or than most. And I've been trying to find my footing ever since. But basically, what takes up my time right now, first and foremost, is still competing, doing shows, performing, and training with Andrew. Um, it's a blessing to still be able to skate with him and still be invited to perform. And we actually are leaving for our next show, May 7th in Japan, Ice Explosion. So it's just great to be able to do what we love still, especially after such a long um, and beautiful career. And then I do some part-time coaching and choreography. I work on components and skating skills. I've got a lot of choreography gigs coming up, which I'm very, very excited about. And then I'm on a number of committees. I'm on Skate Canada's EDIA working group, and I'm in the ISU Ice Dance Technical Committee. So lots of things revolving around skating, lots of different hats. But it's what I love, and I'm happy to contribute in any way that I can be of benefit.
I think
Awesome.
you recently did some choreography that I think Anna mentioned to us um, about like, Anna,
Yeah,
can you?
I love that you got to do so much group choreography for the Stars on Ice and for Ice Explosion. Are you doing
Yeah.
more of that for this upcoming show or?
So yeah, that was kind of a surprise, really, and I didn't know that I would enjoy it that much. It like sounded really hard at first, to like think of so many people at one time. I'm used to thinking of like two max, and so I did start a women's number for the Stars and Ice holiday, and then I did a group number to Unholy for Ice Explosion. And the cool thing about the show in May is that it's a rebooted Ice Explosion. So it's the exact same show, just performed in a different city. So Unholy will live again. And it was such a fun treat to be able to skate in it and share it with the crowds and the amazing skaters that were in the cast. And try my hand at something different and bring a little bit of a different edge to what we might normally see. So, um, yeah, it'll be fun to revisit that in a few weeks.
Yeah, that was such a cool program, and I think it really shows, like, with those group numbers, what some more creative kinds of choreography can be. And I definitely
Yeah.
encourage people to go like look up the videos on YouTube and watch them.
Thank you. Thank you. What's really cool is that first the organizers of the show allowed me to videotape it. So in between shows, that's a very demanding schedule. We have 6 shows in 3 days, one in the afternoon and one in the evening, 3 days in a row. And I asked the skaters if they'd be willing to, on their break time, come back, get into their costumes and film it. And Massimo Scali and Miko Brezina filmed it, and the organizers allowed us to do that. And the lighting came out and did it, which was really, really generous of them. Those are people that need their breaks, and they were able to, um, recreate magic then. But what's really neat is that because of the video and how well it did, Universal Music Japan noticed it, who is Sam Smith's label, and they wanted to promote it on their sites because of how popular skating is in Japan, and to help promote the album release of Sam Smith's new album. So I was just like, okay, this is cool. It's like the dream when your work, kind of like crosses into other areas of art and culture. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to just kind of playing more and seeing where that takes me.
I always think it's so amazing when mainstream popular culture notices figure skating, because it's such a beautiful expression of art, and I don't know why it goes unnoticed by so many people, but it's always exciting when mainstream artists notice.
Yeah, exactly. More of that, please.
Yes. I think we have received most of the questions in advance about the Slate article, and we really want to talk about it, like that topic. It was released yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago. I don't know.
Yesterday, yeah.
Genau. And so for anybody who hasn't read the article yet, it talks about kind of the progress that has been made to allow same-sex, non-binary couples to compete together. And of course, you have been at the forefront of this revolution, which we are very thankful for. And the first question would be, last summer, Skate Canada announced its intention to allow same-gender skating teams. And maybe you can talk a bit about your involvement in that decision. What was the process?
Yeah, I first want to say that for me, it's all gender inclusive. Inclusive language for me is really important, and so same gender, yes, but also all genders being represented in sport. I think in our sport is really important. So for me, I hesitate to say I'm at the forefront. I think there are so many people doing the work, one of which who's in this room, and people like Anna and Erica and skaters that are being visible and have lived experience are the ones I think that are really doing the work. And I just have the privilege to know them and listen and be able to then advocate and use my position and my platform to do whatever I can to help make the sport safe for all, first and foremost. And I think that the ice is a home for everyone. And if we can help make the competition sphere represent that, then I think that we're going to be better for it. So I think where it really started to become a bit of a aha moment, I guess, or like I think started to light a fire for me was when Timothy LeDuc was competing at the Olympics in 2022. And just out of curiosity, I looked up in the ISU handbook, what is the definition of team? And of course, unsurprisingly, the ISU says that a pair team, an ice dance team is made up of a man and a woman. And Timothy identifies as neither and is non-binary. And so I was thinking, wow, Timothy LeDuc is there despite being excluded from this sport. And they are there representing, and they're there out and proud. God bless them. And I was thinking, like, the fact that they are there is our in to really try and push this forward, because we already have a representative without this rule even being changed yet. And so at Skate Canada, we've been talking about a lot of different things. There's so much intersectionality and overlap between different issues when we talk about social justice, and gender, of course, is one of them. And it's something that Skate Canada had been already working on with gender inclusive language, with lead and follow steps in pattern dances. But after the Olympics, I brought it to the working group and I said, like, we need to really change this, like now is the time. And I'm not alone in that. I have an incredible working group and committee that, puts pedal to the metal, and we started really thinking about how we can do this. And if it's worth it despite the fact that the ISU does not recognize this yet? Is it worth it to, water our own grass and even though that might be the end of the line for some athletes who might qualify for world or international events sanctioned by the ISU, but may not fit the description. And at the end of the day, we said yes. If we want teams to feel like they belong, and while all knowing that this might not be recognized on a global level yet, and so that amendment was passed unanimously by the board, which we're so proud of, and so I think we wanted to be a leader in that, and luckily a lot of the skating community has taken notice of that, and the conversation has become global, and it's just really beautiful to see that happen, and especially with this article, it's just like I can't imagine. I was reading it just like I can't believe I'm reading this, like all of these incredible athletes speaking for this ability to make everybody feel like they're a part of this. And I know it spoke much about two women being able to partner, but for me, it's anyone being able to partner, lead and follow, in any way, in all ways. And it's just really, really cool to see our work being picked up. And for me, my passion to make this sport bigger and better, supported by so many people.
And I think it's so important seeing, like you said, that it's this example of with Gabby and Maddie of two women at the top of the sport taking this on, and that demonstration effect I think is so important, because for so many people it's like they're trying to think about, well, what would this look like in theory? But when you see actual skaters, that really changes the conversation. But also because one of the biggest pieces of pushback that I've seen is this idea that somehow women are going to be harmed by this, that because there's a shortage of partners. Oh, the men will pair up with each other and they'll be really good, and therefore that will be somehow harmful to women, which I think I see that coming more from people who are not as familiar with skating and thinking about this in that context, because it's so much not where we necessarily see the opportunities coming in the sport, or who's most likely to take this up first. But I think showing that, from that perspective, showing that this is something that is not only, beneficial for people who are non-binary or otherwise sort of outside of the traditional gender roles in the sport, but that this could be beneficial for, you could have a team of two cis women and would choose to do this, and it would be powerful. Not that they're going to do it competitively, but, still being able to show that, I think, does have some power.
And I think we're also still in a place where, it's merit-based. So the fact that we do have an Olympic gold and Olympic silver medalist speaking about this in tandem, that speaks volumes. And in addition, Scott Moyer, like multiple Olympic medalists backing this, it's so cool to see people using their platform. When clearly there is something, unfortunately, to be risked because of that. There are people that push back, there are people that judge, and it's just so powerful to see the biggest, most successful athletes in dance, be able to support this revolutionary idea.
So I was wondering, you were talking about it starting a global change and like things changing on a global scale. And this is also like for Anna, of course, they know a lot about this as well. I remember we researched back in December or something, we researched the federations and what they are saying about these topics, and there's nothing. And I was wondering whether you noticed any change in the last couple of weeks, months, whether the conversation really started globally, or if it's just like top down, the ISU has acknowledged it now, and the country federations have to follow, or whether there's any communication within the country federations.
That's a really good question. I haven't heard specifically coming from federations. I think that those are people that probably are the most afraid. But if the global governing body says this is what we allow, then I think everybody else has to follow suit. So, at Skate Canada, we were thinking, well, who, what federations, what countries do we think can help join us to push this? But then, just the quote from Sean in that article is so powerful as the chair of the Ice Dance Committee saying, like, why not? Like, let's talk about it. And that's like more and faster than I ever could have imagined, like ever. So very, pleasantly and optimistically motivated by that.
Yeah.
So can we expect it? Sorry, Anna.
Go ahead, Ellie.
No, please talk.
I was just going to say that I was just, pleasantly shocked to see something being, out publicly said about this coming from the ISU at this point, because, none of the conversations that I had had with people were, thinking we'd be at that stage yet, or that, when so I've been working for a number of months on an article looking at this change and different reactions around the world, and and talking to different people about it, and had gotten, the official response from the ISU that, sure, any federation that would like to bring this forward at the next Congress could do that, and that would be, that would be the pathway to change. But if you look at, which changes actually get adopted at Congress, the ones that are coming from the ISU have a much higher chance than the ones that are coming from federations. And though sometimes maybe it starts like one Congress will come from the federation and the ISU will propose a change next time. So like you can see the different processes that way. But it's really exciting to see that being from within the technical committee.
Yeah. Well, and even like, I still believe that we have a big battle ahead because it has to be voted on by so many people. It's not just something the Ice Dance Tech Committee can vote by itself. But even just the visibility in and of itself, I think is hugely impactful to people. If we're thinking of young kids that are Googling, 2 women skating or 2 men skating or any of these things, they have representation to look at. They have examples, they have quotes, they have something to see and dream about. And that to me is just as important as, a rule change. If we are able to get those types of things online and be seen by like the next generation or any generation, that's a win for me. So, I think each step is critical.
And Ellie, to your question about the other federations, I did interview the president of Skate Canada back in February about this, and and she had really said that she was getting a lot of questions from different federations, a lot of people wanting to talk to her about it, that she was about to go to Junior Worlds that was hosted in Canada and having a number of side meetings about it. And so it was good to hear that it may just be a lot of, we're really interested, we're going to watch how this works for you. But that was really great to see. Being in the US, I would love to see them, the US Federation take this on, even to follow the path that Canada did, first introducing a change in the like adult and non-podium, non-elite pathways as a start it there. Then, even if they want to take a gradual approach, that would be, a way to put it in. But there's been a lot of, I think, hesitation in the broader cultural environment that we're in to want to pick this up. But with it coming, if it comes up at a Congress, that means that everyone will have to take a position on it. And there won't be a, we support you in theory, but don't want to change the rules no longer as a feasible option for the federation to take.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think Lois also found an example of on Ice Partners search or something you just mentioned.
Yeah, there was a bit in the Slate article about a skater who's on Ice Partner search who has specifically said he's searching for a male partner, which is just that's never been seen before. Like that someone would be so available to say, this is what I'm looking for. This is what will inspire me to keep going.
It like makes me want to cry, and to read that quote in Talia's article. Also, like, can we just like props to Talia Barrington, like for just working so hard. I had so many conversations with her, hours long sometimes, about how she was shaping this thing and what to talk about, what are the important things, and it's just like she worked so hard and created this beautiful piece that I'm just like so touched by. So yay, Talia. But reading that bit in there, I'd heard about the skater, but then reading exactly what he says, like I want to be the pioneer of this, like I want to be the first. And it was just like, oh my god, it's so moving, and beautiful. And I a lot of people asked me as I've been traveling around since this rule change came out, like, well, have you heard anything, like do you know of anybody? And every time I'm like, I'm not sure. But then again, I'm not in Canada, I'm not like in the loop of the grassroots program, or I'm kind of like in a different sphere. But to read that made me go, oh, the kids are all right, like like they're gonna like pick this right up. And so excited to see what that turns into. And that was already so quick of a turnaround for people to say, like, yeah, I want to be that person,
Yeah, I went to a novice pairs camp in Halifax with my partner, and it was so cool to see that not only did all of these, teenagers and younger accept us as a non-binary female pair team, sharing the ice with them, and they're very welcoming to us, but also that you could see as they started thinking about stuff about, well, who is the lifting partner and what does it mean if you're like one kid's little brother comes along to the training too, and they were sort of saying, well, do you want to learn how to do the lifts too? You could be the one being lifted, since you're the right, you're much more the right size for that right now. Like, why don't you learn what it's like from that perspective? And he was a little skeptical about it, but like it changes the conversation once those possibilities start to be there. And I loved seeing that, and it's definitely mirrored my experience that the actual skating is so much more like the world inside the rink, and for people like actually willing to work and engage with it from a like skating perspective is so much more welcoming than I could ever have hoped. And I think the more you see actual skaters out there trying these things, it really makes that sense of oh, what is this new and potentially scary and disruptive thing becomes much less scary when it's about actual people.
Yeah, 100%. And even like, I think I love that example of learning, from learning all these different roles. And I think at the end of the day, it makes for stronger skaters. Like, I just don't see how this is ever going to be a negative thing. And this upcoming season in junior dance, with the rhythm dance, the rocker foxtrot, one pattern has to be skated in the traditional style. As of right now, man steps, woman steps, traditionally. The second pattern, the roles have to be reversed. The man skates the woman steps, and I use quotes on that. The lead skates the following steps, and the following partner skates the lead steps in hold, in proper hold. So already, I think we're starting to see a shift and invite people to consider ways in which they think, this is the way to do things. This is what my job is, and this is what their job is, my partner's job is. Invite them to play, and walk a mile in their partner's shoes, or start to just see our sport as something that might be more flexible than they ever have seen it before. And I think we're seeing that mostly with not the Western countries, because we're all in this together at the end of the day, and we have to have everybody's buy-in. So it's exciting to see the change.
Yeah, and you were just talking about like the positive change this is going to have on every aspect of a skater's life, I think. And I've seen a lot of conversation about like body image, queer representation, eating disorders. Like, in my opinion, and I think many people agree, this is going to have a positive impact in so many different ways. And it's just an amazing step forward.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, thank you so much for talking about this to us. I think you talked to Anna as well last June before, or like June before all of this
July
happened.
or August, maybe. It was over the summer we had our conversation about it, and it's cool to see how much has changed and grown even since then.
Yeah, it goes fast. Like, it's gone so much faster. So, yay.
We agree, Russell. It would be so cool to see same-sex pairs in ice dance disciplines in skating competitions. LGBT rocks. Thanks. Yeah, maybe we should get going with the World Team Trophy. Unless there's anything we want to talk about. I think the first question I have, because we have Kaitlyn here, like, what is it like to compete afterwards? Like, after the season is almost over, what does it feel like as a skater?
Well, okay. My honest thought is that World Team Trophy, like, you know, it's never as big of an event or a preparation as Worlds, right? World Championships is the pinnacle of the season, and then it's like, okay, now we have World Team Trophy. We have to do this one more time. We know we're trained. Like, the pressure comes down. You know, ISU points are not involved. It's more just for fun, but it's still an opportunity to get out there, and especially if you had a weaker Worlds, it's a last chance at your performances. But most importantly, it feels like a celebration of making it through. You know, I think especially the year after an Olympic season, you know, I think people are ready for a little vacation, and it really does feel like an ability or an opportunity to celebrate your progress, your teammates, the rest of the countries that are there. I have such beautiful memories from this competition. We had the pleasure to skate there maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't even know. And often it falls on my birthday, which is like another very cool thing in Japan. Birthdays are a serious celebration. And so my first ever World Team Trophy, we were finishing our free dance, I think, and the organizers, like the local organizing committee, had passed out to the audience "Happy Birthday, Kaitlyn" like signs, and so the entire audience of Yoyogi Stadium had "Happy Birthday, Kaitlyn" signs, and they started singing "Happy Birthday to you" in our bows. And I was just like, what planet am I on? Like, it was just the most fun, like, crazy thing that you would like not see anywhere else, you know, like at any other competition or like more serious event. And it's just fun. And I love that we can have fun in something that still is reputable and serious and like still a viable competition, but be able to show who we are and see that. Like, now as an audience member, I love being able to see the skaters kind of like settle into themselves. You know, it's just a different vibe there. And I love that event. I love it. And then when you're done, it's just like, oh, yay, you know, you made it through.
Vacation time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we have a slideshow prepared. It shows that it's a party.
Yeah. It really is.
So,
oh my God, I love
wants
it.
to introduce?
Yeah, so our winners this year were the US by a pretty big margin this time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but super fun to see this this team coming off of Worlds, and a lot of really strong performances and some good I did enjoy the sunglasses and some of the swag, though I think my favorite word was Team Italy with all of their pets on their little, you know, faces of their pets on sticks, because I'm a sucker for a good dog or chinchilla in
Molly
the
the
kiss and cry.
chinchilla.
Well, and I love that like the kiss and cries, like there's like it's like choreographed. You know, like you come up with like a thing to do during the big reveal of the kiss and cry, and then that's like the job of the teammates is to like make the skater feel really special and honored, you know, and that's I love the shtick. I love the performance. It's so fun. And these
It's
are all
great.
creative people, so yeah.
Do you remember any of the things that you came up with for kiss and cries?
I can't think of one offhand that I came up with, but I remember back in the day, I think Team France like made a human bicycle. Like and like they like took like 4 people and like made a bicycle, and then like
think I
Florent
remember
or
that.
like someone was like riding the bicycle. Like it was just like what? Like what? Like but it was so funny. Like and one year Team China all had like Pokemon costumes, like just like random stuff. Like but it's sometimes the most random that is the most memorable. Um Oh, when we did Four Seasons, Megan Duhamel, I think, organized everyone to be like represent a different part of the season. And so like one person like threw leaves, another person had snow, another person was like sunshine. Like, you know, it's just so creative and fun. And so much thought goes into it, and I love it. I love it. I'm all for a show. So
How far in advance do you start planning these?
not very far. Not far. I think I remember making signs in the hotel room the day before. These, I mean, Team USA looks like pretty legit here. So I think that they even had like matching t-shirts. So now that Team Trophy is, you know, maybe a decade into its lifespan, like I think people come prepared. Um, I did I was team captain one of the years, and I sourced a ton of like Team Canada gear, and one of which was this ridiculous moose hat, and it was like a stuffed animal hat. And I think that moose hat still lives. I think people are still wearing the moose hat, and I'm just like all the sweat that is in that moose hat.
I can definitely
Andrew-
picture like that moose
I'm
hat
not sure if
being worn
Maxime
by multiple
Deschamps might have
people.
been wearing it this time.
Yeah, like everything
think he
was wearing
might
the
have.
moose hat. Yeah, it's so funny. Andrew used to wear like red and white pom-poms on his head. Like I've got so many pictures of so many skaters looking ridiculous, but all having the best time.
So
It's
good.
amazing. It feels almost like a team building exercise to go there and to like have fun with your team.
So true. So true. I remember Natalie Peshala, before we had ever gone to one, she was oh yes, Team Korea was
They were
like
great.
so happy that Team Korea did so well in their first debut. But Natalie Peshala saying that she was like cheering for somebody and then looking at the clock and being like, oh, my event starts in 20 minutes. I gotta go warm up, you know, and it's just like that energy that to me is so funny. And then you see like beautiful performances too, you know, and of course the Japanese crowd being the best receivers of that and like playing into all the games and the fun, and you know it has a little bit of like Japanese game show vibe, which is a hoot.
So
Yeah.
we were talking about Team USA. Do you have any highlights from them? Do you remember anything?
So I mean, of course, being an ice dancer, I love to see some personal bests, season's best coming out, and seeing Maddie and Evans score when I woke up the next morning was just like, go guys. Love to see it. And I watched. I was able to be at Worlds Live, and I was at Skate America in person, and then Worlds in person, and to see the development of those programs. So cool. You know, I love I'm a big fan. You know, they're our contemporaries and we were competing. I've known Evan since I was 12 years old. And to see like the pursuit of excellence still have such a, you know, upward momentum, and like how their artistry has really like combined with their technicality, I think is really cool to see. So I love to see people succeeding.
it's got to be nice for them to end off without, like, because obviously they had the fall at Worlds, so it's got to be nice to end off without that.
Yeah.
Just to like close the book on those programs and like do them to the best of your ability.
Exactly. That's what I meant. Like sometimes it's like one extra shot, and I think that probably felt great for them. So.
By the way, this question was also open to everybody else because I know there's only so much skating you can watch.
Yeah, please. What's everyone else's highlights?
I really liked how Ilya performed his short program. I felt like he took the criticism that he's had from the season of maybe not being artistic enough, and he really tried to deliver it as much as possible in his short program. So I think it was a good stepping stone for him to becoming a more complete all-round skater. I think he definitely put a lot of effort into his short program here.
Also, a big Brandon fan. Sorry, just saying.
No, I'm also thinking like it's so much less pressure than Worlds, so it feels like an opportunity to really close the season and have a good skate that might not be interrupted by nerves and by everything that comes with going to Worlds.
I was really impressed with Alexa and Brandon. They did really well here, and for them to finish this season so strong like that. I don't know whether this is this may be their last season. They haven't said, but if that's how they end it, it wasn't with the world title, but it was, but having this really great skate and leading on the pairs is, I think, was a big accomplishment for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Russell said that he would like to see a team event at Worlds, which I think probably a lot of skaters would not agree. But I was wondering how the decision to start the team event at the Olympics was kind of influenced by World Team Trophy, or like if there was like a idea that.
Yeah. So from what I understand, World Team Trophy was introduced as a trial with the hope that it would become an Olympic event. When we look at swimming, when we look at track and field, there's so many opportunities for medals, and figure skaters work just as hard as everybody, and unfortunately we have one medal for two different programs, and there's so much that goes in to one medal. And so I think that the goal is to be able to recognize athletes and countries in more ways than one. And I love the idea. For us, we never had the privilege to be on a team event at the Olympics, unfortunately, but it's really cool to see how a team comes together. I mean, those were both team events. Those are our people, those were our teammates that we've grown up with, and we've shared everything together already. And to be able to then share that medal, that moment, that support, on an Olympic stage is really cool. In addition to be able, of course, have the opportunity to get another medal. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I think, it wouldn't be bad to consider more ways that we can introduce more medal winning opportunities to Olympic Games for figure skaters.
I saw one suggestion that the Japan Open and World Team Trophy should be flipped in the schedule, which I thought was an intriguing idea, that, put World Team Trophy at the beginning of the season where, it's sort of similarly, you don't necessarily have much to lose if it's like the first competition. You can sort of try things out and all of that feeling. And then, put the competition that's sort of the Pro-Am competition at the end of the season. And I kind of liked that as a potential approach. I'm a big fan of the team competitions, and I really enjoy it in the Olympics. And I would love to see more opportunities for teams, and even for like cross-national teams. I think could be really a fun thing to see too. Like in the Youth Olympics, they did that for a little while, where they had. You'd get your team of an ice dance and a pair and two single skaters, and they match you up and you're the team. And I think that's kind of fun. I think fans would really kind of enjoy the idea of, like, I don't know. I saw somebody was like, pick your friends and go off and be a team. But creativity.
That also sounds like like a bad like tug of war, like that could get dramatic. It would have to be like chosen by the computer or something.
Yes.
How
Yeah,
fun
because otherwise
though.
it turns into like school, and you're like, I picked this one,
Yeah,
I picked this one, and someone gets picked
exactly.
last.
Red Rover. But also, I think that represents something bigger for me, personally speaking, is that, you know, in skating, we are, from a young age, we're taught to be very, you know, independent and being able to like be self-sustained, even as an ice dance couple, you know, like you have each other and that's it. You know, and a lot of people have the benefit of having wonderful training centers and teammates and things, you know, locally. That makes it definitely less isolating. But I think that we're not used to this type of like team atmosphere, like historically speaking, as a sport. And I love that. Like I at the Olympics, I was so not envious is the word, but like so like in support of like the women's hockey team. You know, they get to hang out together. They get to like, you know, go through all of these things together. And I love that camaraderie. And so I think it's really cool, despite us being on the ice alone or with maybe one other person, that we get to really share the experience together. And that's a unique experience to me.
And I think David was asking whether we prefer the Olympic team event format or the World Team Trophy.
Yeah, because they're a bit
Well,
different.
The Olympics starts with more teams, right? And then they get cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also
And then you're able to switch out.
Yeah.
You can switch out between the short and the free. And then there's also that there's the advantage for single skaters at World Team Trophy. Like
Yeah,
that's
because you have two from each country.
You have two.
I was thinking about that I think if you know, if Canada could have had two pairs and two ice dancers, that would have changed probably would have done better. You know, there's certainly all of those strategies.
I think that since Japan was the initiating host country of Team Trophy, I don't think it's a surprise that at least previous to recent years, single skating was definitely a strength and pairs and dance were not. And so, you know, I think that the host country deserves to kind of make the rules, but the Olympic format, I think generally is a little bit more well-rounded for all disciplines. So there's that. I wouldn't be opposed to mirroring a similar type of format.
It'd be nice to mirror it someplace so that it's not the once every 4 years you see it. I think that would probably make it a little easier for fans to follow and for teams to be used to and all of that. Like I know some of the theory is just, Worlds is already a week long. It's too long to do it at the same time. And when would you do it? And like, there's a lot of just logistics that go with it, but I would love to see more of that. I think Japan is a great example of how, over time they are starting to grow the other disciplines. And, maybe Korea is not that far behind. We'll talk about both of those teams, but like, it's cool to see what this team competition can do to encourage federations to invest in all of their disciplines.
Yeah.
Yes, totally agree.
So any more comments about Team USA before we move on?
I just think Jason, I think, perfectly worked out his schedule this year, that he managed to compete. Like the 3 international competitions he did were all in Japan.
It was so funny.
That's a smart skater. Like Jason knows all. And also like there's no one that works harder than him. And we were at a show immediately following Japan Open. And he was like running long programs, working with Daniel Grassel. He was like doing all these things. And it's just like where he finds the energy, I have no idea, but it shows because he is spectacular and deserves tens across the board, if you ask me.
living his best life at World Team Trophy as well, getting to like be the team captain and speaking in Japanese to the crowd afterwards. It's just like thriving.
Oh yes, absolutely. He was born for Team Trophy.
I'm always so impressed by people like that because I had only this thing scheduled today and I did nothing all day just to prepare for this. This was my one thing today. It's already exhausting. I think a lot of people in the comments were very excited about the second place.
So proud of Team Korea. Like this is their first time at World Team Trophy and they managed to beat Japan and come second. It's incredible.
I love a dark horse, you know. Also, June is a rock star.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Just incredible. So happy to see him finally break 100 in the short program as well. I was very happy about that.
I love his short programs so much. It has like the best like hype moment that I've ever seen in a program. Like it is, I saw him skate it I guess at both NEPLA and Skate America this year, and then at Four Continents. But like when he managed just to hit his combination on exactly the like, are you ready? Like climax moment. It's like, I mean, Shaylin Bourne is a genius. It's like such a good moment. And when he actually, there was a couple times that it didn't work out and kind of lose that momentum, but when he gets it, it's like just so satisfying.
When he does the kick on the glass smash, it's
yes,
so good. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Shaylin knows.
I'm just, yeah, and it's so amazing. I'm just totally so happy for her to be skating this well and just to be like, just continuing this year to get better and better.
Yeah. And like, kudos to Cho Adcock. This is their first international competition. I think their third competition overall. I heard Stephen had a back injury going into this competition as well, and they had a perfect short program. They struggled a bit in the free, but like incredible showing for their first ever international competition.
I'd be interested to see like how Korea's success like translates into the future. I know we were talking about the Japan Open, but obviously that's like Japan versus America versus Europe.
Yeah.
But like seeing now that Korea can do so well as a team, like I'd be interested to see if maybe that changes or, you know, some other changes that we might be able to see. So it's not, you know, Japan versus Europe versus America or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they did so well here as well. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I mean, for both the dance and the pairs, it was just really great to have this opportunity for these teams to come and compete at this like major senior international event like that. And hopefully they can really take that as inspiration going into next year. I was just so happy to see them. And I think in some ways that was my favorite part about World Team Trophy overall. It's like, yes, it's nice to see the like, you know, one more time of a favorite program or someone be able to have this redemption, but sometimes seeing some of the skaters that get brought in because of the team who maybe we haven't seen as much of this season and like have them as part of the competition too. It like made me excited about the Grand Prix all over again of like, I'm like skipping the off season entirely. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's so much fun. We're back to like smaller fields and you get to see like, and so I was having some of those feelings again, but I really enjoyed getting to see them.
So Sarah apparently stopped working to watch this live stream. Hi, Sarah. And is asking, where did people predict Team Korea coming? She thought 4th place. And I would like to extend this question. I would like to know, what was your ranking? Like, how did you predict the teams?
I also thought Korea probably would have been 4th.
So 1, 2, 3 would be...
I would have had, well, I think a lot of people thought Japan were going to be 1st, but then Shoma pulled out, so like things became a little bit more unpredictable. And I thought USA would be 3rd. I don't know who I thought, no, USA would be 2nd. I don't know who I thought 3rd would be, but I thought it could be Italy. But yeah, I've never been happier that Korea managed to get into 2nd place.
No Canada in the medal stand for anybody, huh?
It
It's not been the most stable competition for them for the last couple of iterations.
It's not that we don't want to.
It's not that we don't want them to do well.
Well, and it's, it's the tough thing. It's when with ice dance and pairs, it's somewhat predictable. And even though Canada has really strong teams, they're not going to get the points of a first place. And so then, and with only one team in each of those disciplines, I think it's like Canada's the country that I think was hurt the most by the singles versus team disciplines disparity here. Though, I don't know, now we're jumping all over the place, but I do think that I was really glad to see Maddie Skizas do well in clean short program and just like she's had such a tough season that it was nice to see some success from her.
Shades of the Olympic event all over again. She thrives in team competitions.
And
Sarah thought kind of the
third. She's thought they would be in third.
I was sorry, we were talking about, if we move on to talk about the Japanese skaters, that I was sorry for the Japanese men who are really strong skaters, and I think we're just put in a tough spot to try to, be the ones to secure that, that medal here. It's especially Shun coming up at the last minute to do this. So I saw some people being a little harsh toward them, and I think, none of that is definitely a tough position for them to be in.
I'm also not sure if Mai is harboring a little bit of an injury. I think she had one at Worlds. It's obviously she's not as stable earlier on in the season in terms of cases, so it's not easy performing that late in the year.
Since we are,
it can be a long season. It can feel like a long season for sure.
But it also feels like it's over so soon all the time. Like every time the GP Grand Prix announcements get out, and it's like, okay, the season's about to begin, and then it's over so fast. But yeah, since we were all over the place, I would just put up this comment, and I was wondering, how do the teams get picked? Like, who makes the decisions? Who goes?
The federations. I know that the ICU often really pushes for the top placing people in the country. I know that in the past, when Team Trophy was just starting, some of the top performing or placing athletes in the country passed because they didn't want to go back out after Worlds. But then the ICU said, we really need the best of the best here in order to make this a viable run to be an Olympic event. So I'm pretty sure it's based on national results and the highest placing skaters and teams.
We just lost Lois. Let me check real quick if she said anything. Why she's gone?
Yeah, she said she was frozen. So.
Oh no!
She can come back in a second. Yeah, I don't know if Gabby's back. If she's fully healthy at this point. And Sarah did do pretty well at Four Continents, so I'm not surprised that she got another opportunity. On Japan, I felt sorry for Kaori, and it definitely seemed like there was, that was the example of where World Team Trophy can be hard on a skater. And I don't know, how much just tiredness going into this event or anything, but just, I felt for her having just come off of being world champion to then not win the women's section here and have, I think that must just feel a little deflating. Hopefully it can just be like, it's the end of the season, whatever, this doesn't matter that much, and brush it off. But that did seem a little hard to have to end your season on a little bit of a down from that peak.
I guess that's a bit of a risk if you compete and you're exhausted after the season, and then it might not end the way you wanted to. But hopefully,
I would say, like, I think that's probably definitely disappointing, but most likely short term. Because like no one trains all season to become the World Team Trophy champion. You know, you train your whole year to peak at the World Championships, and your body is not, you know, able to sustain that level for so long. And especially a lot of the skaters did Stars and Ice in between, you know, so they really didn't get much of a true break. And so, you know, I no one ever likes not skating their best, but I'm sure she's like can like walk away still feeling proud.
she can look at her words medal and be like, I did very well this season.
When it counts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's these. I think that's what you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah, I was a big fan. Not only just was it really funny watching everyone with their animals, but then we also got the story behind everyone's pets from the mix zone as well. So I really enjoyed that, and especially Charlene and Marco's chinchilla is really funny to me, and I'm a big fan. But yeah, this was a good encapsulation of the ridiculousness of those little signs.
So cute.
I really wish Lois would come back because I know she's like the one who watched the most of all of us. And I'm gonna check again, but
Lois,
come back to us. I have these technical difficulties. Every single time we have like some technical difficulty.
Mateo, big achievement for him. Was really nice to see him skate so strongly here and kind of finish in the top three. It's been a really good year for him overall, and yeah, hope he can keep that up.
It's all falling apart now. Itsumi is also gone. It's just us now. Yeah, Lois' laptop is frozen apparently.
oh no.
Yeah. Well, I think we are, we're getting to the end here. So I just want to say since we're coming up to an hour, maybe if there are, any other performances across their teams that we want to shout out, or I know in general, Kaitlyn, I would love to know, since you were at Worlds and saw so many people skate live, if there were any, performances or athletes that we haven't talked about that you particularly, appreciated this year, anything you'd want to shout out.
Yeah, I think first, and not to go, countrymen first, but I know that Piper and Paul had a challenging year with a health concern around nationals time, and so to see them rebound was awesome. And I know that they're such hard workers. I was most excited, I think, to see Laurence and Nick live. And again, this is not biased, but their programs, their like how well they're doing, like they're getting so good, like their rate of improvement is spectacular. And I just think Laurence is one of the best women in ice dance maybe ever. Like so strong, so sensitive to musicality and partnering, and like no weaknesses. So really excited to see what they do next year, how they choose to like ride this momentum of a huge season for them. Big breakthrough, great programs. I think they're finding their footing in themselves, and that's really cool to see. And then some of the younger teams, the two young French teams, I was just blown away by, and really cool to see the next generation find themselves. I think for a few years we see some people following in footsteps of teams past, and that's fine too, but to see teams find their own unique style, their voice, their identity, play to their strengths, I think is really cool. So excited for this next quadrennial. I think we're going to see a lot of shifting and movement and new faces. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yes. Same. That was tough.
Now comments coming in. Glad to see
Oh, that too. Like, not seeing LeJoie and Laga at Worlds. Like, those were 2 programs that so deserve to be on the world stage. But at the same time, you know, I wouldn't disagree with having Nick and Laurence win Canadians without Piper and Paul there. So, it was like an impossible result, and so happy that we have 3 spots. Team Canada has 3 spots in Ice Dance for next year, because there are 3 very, very, very deserving teams that deserve to, you know, show their stuff on the world stage.
Yes.
I do want to show the final teams on the slideshow, just because everybody deserves a shout out here.
Yeah.
And if there's any comment you can think of, all of you guys, then please let me know.
The wigs.
Team France. The wigs are so amazing. And then
I'm a big fan of Le Brave and Brissot as well.
Of course, we can't forget about
from France.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where's the moose hat?
Canadians.
Where is it? Is it not pictured? No.
Yeah, no, they've only got the like Canadian flag moose ears that Max Deschamps has, but I didn't see I know exactly what you were talking about with the full moose head, and I didn't see it there, but...
Oh, shout out to Keegan. What a guy, what a role model, you know, what a legend. I'll be very sad not to see him, but he's so happy. You know, he's just so happy doing his thing, and I think he wants to be a fireman and, you know, go back to his family and be able to spend time there. And not the last we'll see of him for sure at skating, but thanking him, you know, feeling so grateful for his contributions to the sport.
That's so great.
Sure, and I think we're coming to an end with this live stream now. Sorry, it was a bit rushed at the end, but like there were so many teams, and we really wanted to talk about all of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining, Kaitlyn. We are so excited that you were able to make the time.
Thank you. Anytime. I'd be happy to chat with you guys. It's my favorite sport.
We'll definitely take you up on that next season with as we get back into things. And thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing to make the sport better. We so appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for your support, everybody, and thanks for like taking time out of your schedules too to help boost skating. And you know, we need supporters like you all and skaters like you all, and you know, we're lucky to have you.
After these beautiful words, I feel bad asking people to like and subscribe, but I will say it anyway.
Like and subscribe. I'll do it. Like and subscribe.
And this isn't the end of our live streams, because we're going to do some off-season stuff that is to be announced, but we have some off-season plans.
Yeah, we want to keep entertaining you guys while skating can't entertain you enough. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye everybody. Thank you.